Welcome to the Aggressive Mindset Podcast. My name is Natalie Potts, personal development and business coach, and each week I'll be bringing you an inspiring personal message to help you unlock creating and living a life full of energy and happiness. And today's episode is focusing on the one thing you need more of in your life. And this one thing is that you need to be more intentional of bringing gratitude into your life daily. So I'll say that again. You need to be bringing gratitude intentionally into your life daily. I mixed up the words a couple of bits there, but that's cool. So you have the power to change how everything is in your life. And this is such a wonderful place to be. So we can also be really negative. We can worry, procrastinate. We can fear every single thing that comes our way. And when we look at gratitude, there is a clear link with a good mental health, heightened self-awareness, better relationships in our life. And there was a science-based study that measured two groups. And one group was asked to record things that they felt grateful for. And the second was asked to record things of times when they had felt hassled or irritated. Now, the gratitude group reported lower levels of stress at the end of the day. So you can use your experiences to be negative and fear things, or you can use them to be positive, open-minded, and embrace every opportunity as a chance to fail, learn, and grow. And I love that saying in itself. Can you imagine embracing everything and thinking, I'm going to look at this. This is an opportunity for me to fail, learn, and grow. So there are moments in our life like this one where we have catalysts for change. And I think that, this one off the base of that study, that if there is something that you know is proven, you have the opportunity to change it. You've got that in front of you. Some people love analytical data, and that's where I love doing discs, because I can know with personality styles how people learn. So you'll know which way they'll tend to potentially go with something without assuming. But it can also help you to ask them the right questions as well when you're coaching with them. So going back to that part of the catalyst, I've really been thinking about this a lot recently, that, 2020 has been a tough gig. Yeah. Like a seriously tough gig. And there's some people out there, and I just see their lives and they have just got so much coming at them. And I just think, wow, you don't complain, you crack on, you've got a growth mindset, you go for every obstacle and just keep going. Like, what's the solution? What's the solution? And, I'm just mindful of taking that step back and just watching a lot at the moment. And it's a tough, tough world. I really think we're in a tough place. And that's coming from a person that, I see a glass half full. But there's lots of people judging people out there, like everywhere, like you're negative, you're a toxic positive, you've got no motivation, you're not doing enough, you should be doing X, Y, and Z. And I just think sometimes we just need to just say stop. Absolutely stop. And take a look, take a step back and just reflect. One, look at our own lives, and then two, look at how we show up in other lives as well. And I guess the example I was drawing upon is that I have the unique perspective of working and being with people in my life that are earning very, very good money, and people that literally need every single penny that drops into their account every month. And that can be quite a tough place to be in some perspectives, because you can never, you're always pulled in between the two, and you have to put yourself back and think about, right, what's reality where I'm at? What does this mean to me? How can I help and serve those two people and those two relationships that I have in my life that are very, very different worlds? And there's people that are really driven, they're very positive, they're focused at the moment. But there's also people that are really, really, really struggling. And I think that sometimes when people are really struggling, saying things like, you can do this, you've got this. I even said that this week myself, because I've got a little book that was given by my coach. It's got an amazing amount of little quotes and stuff. And I love it. It's great. It says, you got this. But sometimes saying it will be okay to someone as well, and that kind of validation attitude doesn't work. It's not enough. And I think we really need to, again, just reflect and read and listen what is not being said with some people in the world. And when I mean that, I mean this is an opportunity to look at their body language, look at what isn't being said, look at the behavior, the shift change in somebody. So I guess an experience I had quite recently was having to deliver some tough news to people. And it was in a work-based scenario, and just that there's going to be a big change with what they're used to. And that complete shift that they've then gone through the couple of days after, we talk about this change curve quite a lot, and having a point of accepting something, going into disbelief, despair, fear, anger, like real anger, then kind of coming a bit into getting more acceptance. I think again, you can get hooked up on a model which is really good, the change curve, or and you can look at it and think, I'm in this place, or I'm not in this place, or actually I haven't been there. But I think what's great about it is it's the self-awareness part again for yourself. But when you're working with people or you're leading people and teams, you have to be mindful of how they are as well. And listening is something that people just generally don't do well enough. They've always got to listen to respond, opposed to actually listen, try to understand. And sometimes you don't always need to say a lot. So I feel this is important because we have almost a responsibility to serve others, I think, in life. And definitely coaching is a way of doing that for myself. And I think it's welcoming others to find what's right for them in terms of how they serve others and help. But it brings an immense amount of gratitude when you do give back to somebody. And this is exactly the point of why this catalyst of 2020 is so poignant at the moment, because this is a key chance for everybody to help someone else in some way. And even I need it at some point. I need to vent, or I need to download on certain people that, that know me really well, and be kind to myself and be compassionate. I was looking online the other day, and it's a great site, notonhighstreet.com, just little different boutique things and gifts and everything. And they've got this business out there. They're kindness ambassadors, and they've got a badge that you can buy it's about £8, and then some of the money goes to, I think it might be Mind charity actually. Lots of them, like I do Fish Out, we've got Samaritans as well, and it's a badge that kind of shows that we're really driving this, having a life where we lead and we are kind all the time to people, and we are mindful of that. And I have a real big thing of integrity on kindness, that we keep saying be kind, but we don't actually do it, or our behaviours and what we choose to do in our actions aren't serving us to be kind people. So I think sometimes it's just that, again, I'll say reflection. It's that point of just being mindful and aware of the thoughts that you're having and being aware of others. So I think when people are struggling, it's really important to look at how we can help them. And there's a great quote by Regina Brett that said, if we threw all of our problems in a pile and saw everyone else's, we grab ours back. And I thought, when I heard this, I was like, it's so true, isn't it? We often think, I've had the worst day, or, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. And actually then we come across a conversation with somebody and they share their day or share what's going on in their life. And you think, okay, wow, yeah, I don't actually have a lot to be moaning at, or I shouldn't really be thinking these thoughts. I just need to crack on with it. So there is always people with bigger problems than us. And there is always big mountains that we need to climb, and situations where we are absolutely in critical states or situations. And studies show again that when you feel gratitude, you can't actually be negative, because you just can't be in a state where you are of gratitude and negative. It is just not possible. And I've just recently bought Jay Shetty's book, Think Like a Monk. So I absolutely love Jay Shetty, Lewis Howes as well. They're kind of my key inspirations. And Jay Shetty talks about planting those seeds of happiness. And this is where it's living a life of being grateful. It isn't just something that you can wake up one day and think, oh, thank you for, my toothpaste or my toothbrush. It's not as simple as that. You actually have to practice gratitude. And I know this myself because I've consciously done it the last 2 to 3 years. The way I started myself was by getting a journal, and I used to write 3 things in there. Interesting, Jay says about writing 5, but actually I did just 3 things every single morning or in the evening. Um, Mostly I would say things in the morning, like in my head I'd think I'm really grateful for this, and I would literally write things down, which had a bigger impact doing it in the evening, and it challenged me to think of something different each day more than just when I said it. I was a bit like, well, actually I said that yesterday. So again, it's something that we have to consciously do. And I think around this, it's about compassion and key is empathy is key when we're talking about gratitude. It really is. And again, that's in ourselves and it's in others. So you may not be in a place where you're able to help someone right now. And it may be actually that the person you do need to help is you at this moment in time. And that's fine as well. It's absolutely fine. And there was a great other quote from Gandhi when I was looking into more around gratitude. Because again, I was thinking, this is something that means a lot to me. And I'm really focused on helping others be more grateful. And I thought sometimes we think it's just a quick, it could be a 5-minute podcast, and or it could be a 5-minute conversation. And I thought, no, there's got to be more about gratitude and how we can pitch this to ourselves and others. And then, the more I did on it, the more I was finding. And I just think that that's amazing that so much can start to unravel and you can discover so much more about a certain topic. But Gandhi, this is what I came across, said that, I thought I was having a bad time because I had no shoes. Then I met a man who had no feet. And again, it's just that kind of, we always think that we're the worst ones sometimes. It's just naturally, and there's nothing wrong in that. We all do it. But you have to intentionally shift your mindset to practice something and to change it. And that might even be something that we look at is procrastination. In order to change it, you have to be aware of it at the start, because otherwise you can't change it. So exactly the same with gratitude. You need to almost have that reality part of where am I at and where do I want to be with this, if this is something you're passionate about bringing into your life. So one thing you can do is write down 5 things you're grateful for in your life every morning and every evening. If you think that's going to be too much, just start small. It's about stepping stones. So start in the morning, whatever feels more natural, or start in the evening, and try your best to write it down, because there is a different psychological effect when you write things down. But you'll able to see where you start seeing more obstacles and how you overcome them. And the key here is about changing behaviour and creating a habit. So the way we go about that is we first have to identify and understand and have the awareness of what do we want to change and where we're at the moment. And then you can kind of start to look at, well, I have to consciously practice this every single day until it becomes a bit more ingrained and we start to rewire those neurons. So exactly the same as an example, like when you jump in your car and you go to work, sometimes you don't even think about the journey that you're taking consciously. You just seem to get from A to B. The obviously prime example is always brushing your teeth. You don't think about what you're doing, you just do it. And again, so we need to start doing this with gratitude, and it is possible, trust me. So start seeing, how can I make gratitude a habit? And it's like the basic law of attraction. The more negative you are, the more negativity comes into your life. The more positive you are, the more positivity comes into your life. The more grateful for you are, the more you will start being grateful for other things in your life. You will start inviting gratitude in different ways. You will see it show up for others as well. And one thing I was thinking about earlier when I was kind of creating the podcast was to really think about, imagine waking up in the morning and knowing it was your last day. Or if you asked yourself, is this mentally how I wanted to spend my last day today? See the difference it makes. And I guarantee you will start to instantly think of a few things that you're grateful for, especially if you're struggling to think of 5 things. Again, it's natural. Some days I can wake up and I'll say the same as I said the day before. And I think, this isn't much effort happening here. But okay, let's just go with that. Let's let that go. Just be aware of that. Don't do the same the next day type thing. So it is really important that we are self-aware. So be intentional. make sure you obviously, if you're going to do this in the morning and lie in bed and do it, that you turn your snooze on just so you don't fall back to sleep. So I don't want to be pulled up for that one. But close your eyes and maybe say it out loud, which I'm really grateful for, or think it in your mind. Maybe put an image to it and have a vision more with it, especially if you're a visual learner. And when we label something as bad, we believe it to be that. So again, the opposite. When we see something as good, we believe it to be that. So you have to make a choice of what you want your mind to see and how you want that to be in your life. Another thing you can do is obviously write a thank you note to somebody. And you might be sitting there thinking, I'm not writing a note or a card to somebody, and that's fine. It could be a message. This is in so I have the Brendan Burchard High Performance Planner for my weeks and my days. It's absolutely amazing. If you haven't had a look at it, go and either reach out to me or have a little look on Amazon. It's such a great book. It's such a great tool as well for planning your time. But that's a completely different other topic. One of the key things he says in it every single day is around who is a message or note you can send somebody to show your appreciation for them in your life. And I do this every single day, and it pushes me. And what I love about it is, I'm going to go for a positive here, opposed to what I didn't like about the fact I was doing this at first, is that I was really unhappy about the fact, I'm really happy now at the fact that I naturally do it, and I'm waiting for it, and I'm thinking ahead of this person. I was really disappointed though when I started it, because I did think, wow, like, one person a day, that shouldn't be this hard, should it? Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, who am I going to do that to? So I think, again, it's that self-awareness part and knowing that we can change the way we see things. So write a little note and send it to somebody. Much of our time and our energy is just put on things that we just actually don't have the time for. So gratitude reverses this. It reverses our priorities to help us appreciate those people and the things that we do. So it is really important. So there is another quote that I've got, because I love a quote, and Pema Chodron said, appreciate everything, even the ordinary, especially the ordinary. And I think that's where it's key as well, is that don't create something more than it needs to be with this. Just, grab a card and maybe randomly send it. I know there was a podcast I was listening to by Grant Cardone, and he said about send somebody a birthday card when it's not their birthday. I was like, that's a crazy idea. But actually, it's a great idea, because even if it has a bit of an impact where they ring you up and go like, what are you doing? That's really bizarre. It still had an impact on somebody. And then you can have a laugh with them. You're in a conversation with them and showing you're thinking of them, or I don't know, just something different. One thing I do with my clients is I send them a book actually when they start with me. And it's unique to them. And it's with a little note. And actually, I was challenged to this in the week. I was listening to something where someone said, send a written note, like show that you've handwritten it and taken the time. Whereas I've actually just got a bulk order made from Vistaprint or whatever with postcards, and it's, it's what I've written, it's online. The thought's still there. What I will do is in time is I'm either just going to write a little squiggle on the bottom of that, or I don't know, add the date, something to make it more specific. But again, I think it's just that part that this is this growing journey, isn't it? That I wouldn't have been doing that a year ago. Now I'm doing that for my clients when they join and work with me. And then, in a year's time, I'll probably think, actually, I'll write a hand note because I really want to do that. I think that's different. I think that's impactful, and it shows that I'm really thinking about them, and it's very different. And I'm really big on being really different. I don't want to be the same as everybody else is doing the same. There's so many people doing the same thing out there, and I want to just have my own identification of what I want to achieve, my own stamp on coaching and business coaching. But moving back to gratitude. So I thought this is really interesting around that kind of the note part. And another thing we can do is just express gratitude by giving back. So when someone says thank you, when I've done Shout, the volunteering network I'm with on mental health, I just literally get that through from my supervisor, who says, you've had a note come through from a texter, and this is what they've said for you, and it's just some feedback. And like literally, I don't know this person from Adam, but just to get something like you completely changed my day, or you completely changed my life, or whatever it is, has such an impact. And I think that just shows the power of gratitude, in terms of that's a complete stranger, someone I don't know and I will never know, that has just turned around and said thank you to me. And it can often be sometimes when we're having the worst days and you just get that and you think, well, you know, my day's not as bad actually. And it's really interesting. I thought this as well when we teach little children, and I was thinking of myself when I was younger, you know, my parents, like, you've got a gift, right? Thank you for it. And then we get older, as with everything else when we get older, and we think we know better. We don't need to do that, or we don't need, we know, let's just be the same as everybody else. Whereas actually, if we continue doing what we did as we were younger, it would actually probably have stronger relationships than we have maybe the ones that we do. So create that feedback loop of gratitude, and it is again in bringing in love, kindness, and appreciation. So it's like being kind, you know, it has a ripple effect. So you give to someone and hopefully they tend to then naturally give to somebody else. You know, you might have said thank you, and then you notice that other people start to say thank you. Invest time in the right places, and surely this kind of energy is actually going to drive us to be more positive in life. There's lots out there that proves that by being kinder in our energy to people, it actually links to our happy hormone dopamine. And that's a much more pleasurable way to live our lives, surely, opposed to actually, like I said earlier, the panicking about something that hasn't even happened, fearing fear. And we shouldn't be doing that. We should really be moving forward and, you know, living every single day, going back to that part of, am I going to be spending the day mentally how I want to spend it? So giving back helps us move those negative emotions like stress and anger, and really give us perspective. And another example I'll give you is when I was working with a team in London in a business, and I used to phone some of the guys that were kind of, because you're a leadership role, so it's more lonely when you're on your own. And I'd ring some of the other guys sometimes, and I was having really rubbish days in different locations across London. And I would just say, oh my goodness, I've had this, and this. And I just reeled off stuff, completely down low. Probably wouldn't even let them say, how are you doing? Before it was a kind of hello. And then just a blur of everything that was on my mind, just flowing out. And then I go, oh, so how's your day? And then they go, oh, this and this happened. And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, that's definitely something that you should be off the phone for and focusing on now and not talking to me. I'm really sorry. Do you need any help? So again, it can really, when we share things with people, it can help us give perspective and also look at, you know, the emotions and how we are. So yeah, I think that was really useful. It's something that I focus on continuing, actually, just sometimes picking up the phone or sharing with people, look, I'm here. If you need to download, just give me a call. I do a lot of those calls in the car, or commutes, actually, where I just kind of pick up with people, and I consciously pick up with people I haven't spoken to in a certain amount of time as well. Because again, I'm conscious about what's not being said, and if I haven't heard from them, like, I wonder how they are. When someone gives you a compliment, give one back. So I'm rubbish at this, like seriously rubbish at taking any compliments. I'm almost like, what's on your agenda when somebody does it? And again, this is just because of my programming in my mind and how I choose to accept that. And it's not great. I need to be more, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. You know, and I've started to work on this by making sure that when someone does say something, I say, that's really kind of you, thank you. That one line I say all the time, that's really kind of you, thank you. So again, I get into that loop of getting used to saying the same thing, and it just becomes, it sounds that it's not natural, but it does become more natural, because you then, when somebody does it, you just say thank you. So again, you're creating more positive, and you're not becoming negative and going, well, why would you say that? Or don't be silly, that's not me. And actually you're feeling good about yourself, and that's a great thing as well, surely. Another thing I thought about was probably a little bit more debatable whether this is for everybody, but getting to a place where you can write a letter of forgiveness. And the example I'll give on this is writing a letter of forgiveness to an ex. Okay. And you don't have to give this letter. You don't have to ever show it to anybody. You could actually write it and bin it. But again, write it down. So gratitude requires us to be vulnerable and open. And we often block off feelings because we don't want to feel or we don't want to be rejected. So we find that when we do this, we can purge our emotions by writing things down and writing a forgiveness letter. We are actually going to find and learn gratitude through this uh, activity and by thinking about that relationship. Now, the difference with this is that I think you have to be in a place where you want to do this. And I think you have to be in a place where you can accept and you can forgive that person, because otherwise it's not going to be meaningful and you're just going to do it for the sake of doing it. And actually, that might be quite a tough emotional experience for you to do. But I think what's important to recognize with this is that, life isn't linear. It's not one size fits all here. The same with coaching. I'll have a set program or idea of what I work with a client, but it's very much defined around what they need from me as a coach. And we will work towards that and what's right for them. And again, because everybody's in different places of their life. And it's not for me to tell somebody, it's for me to understand what they need. And then we work and I get them there quicker. So I think that this is really important to explore, be curious and discover, is this right for you? And the key to doing this and how you can link giving forgiveness with gratitude is because you will start to be thankful for the place that you are in now and the situation that you went for with that person. And this obviously doesn't just have to be an ex, it could be your boss that fired you, and that you have let that go, because we know that when we hold on to things, it doesn't serve us. It bites and it grates on us and it just sits with us. And we need to learn to accept things and let them go. The same as sometimes we will think thoughts that actually we think they're very negative or I don't really like them. We need to just take them in and we just need to let them go. So be aware that I think you have to be in that place to accept it and then notice a difference. I did it once actually, and I felt this really pure relief at the end. Like I was actually, yes, I do forgive you, and I'm happy that I am in that place. And this is what I have learned, and this is what I want to have differently in the future. I guess it's sometimes, again, this is where one size doesn't fit all. That for some people, they need to know that that's what I don't want. So I don't want a relationship like I had then. I don't want to have a boss like I had then. I want to work with people like this. So by approaching what you don't want, you can know what you do want. So many people come to me like, I'm just lost. I don't know what I want. So sometimes the easier way, apart from really digging into what you want, is to look at what you don't want. So find what's right for you. And be kind to strangers. So another thing I do every year, 4 times a year, is I give blood. I've done that the last 2 years. So this started, I saw on social media a lady who died of terminal cancer at about my age. And it was everything that she wanted to do, like this bucket list. And it was insane stuff that she wanted and did do. And on it, I think it was like, she had like, I can't remember how many points. It was like 30 points, I think she wanted to do. And, or maybe one for every year of her life, I think something like that. And one of them was to share with us and people that were listening and reading this, to give blood if you've never given blood. And I read it and I was so taken aback and just, I was just absolutely mesmerised by what she was saying. So inspirational to her story. And I thought, I've never given blood. And I was like, what a bloody basic thing to do, right? Is know that I could be giving and saving someone's life just by giving a bit of my blood 4 times a year. So yeah, I went and did it actually. The first time I did it a couple of years ago, I passed out the first time. They wouldn't let me go, which was a little bit embarrassing. But the great bit is they give you loads of cookies and sweeteners at the end. So you sit there and have 20 minutes of eating sweets. But I've done it actually 4 times a year, and it feels so basic, and I have to kind of pull myself on that and just see that it's not like, because not enough people give blood. I think 4% of the population do, which isn't enough. And I got also quite excited because I'm a rare blood type. So I think I have a blood type that 8% of the population have. And I thought this was great at first. And I was like, oh, actually, this isn't quite a good thing, is it? But stems the need to do it even more. So give back strangers doesn't have to be as blunt as giving a compliment to a stranger or thinking, well, how do I do that? It could just be giving, like that, just giving blood. So I think, what was I thinking the other day with this as well? We could even just give a smile to someone. And I know that sounds really strange, but, it's that kind of thing when people say kill them with kindness if someone's rude to you, and it's just by smiling at them. It is really, really hard not to smile at somebody when they smile at you. And I challenge you to become really aware of it. So I have consciously sometimes done this. And throughout the day, I thought, right, I'm really going to be positive today. I'm going to go and I'm going to be like this in the day. I'm going to show up like this with the people that I'm working with, and I'm going to smile at every single person, and I'm going to be wanting that smile back. And yeah, it's a really good psychological effect and impact it has on you as well. And you actually you are really positive generally. Sometimes you can think this is actually quite hard because some people, I'm trying my best with everybody that comes in my way that day, but give it a go. Try something new and just be open-minded to things. So I think it's really key. I'm going to close my kind of podcast today just talking about really stepping back and looking at gratitude generates kindness, enhances self-awareness, and hopefully I've reflected that through the points I've shared today. And it raises intention in the actions that we have also, and this is really important because this will make a huge difference to the decisions that we make every single day. When we are positive, we are more inclined to connect with people and others, and then we have better relationships in life. So people, business is about people. Relationships mean so much to us every single day. Being with others, sharing time with others. Many of our values in life are often centered around our family and our friends. So it shows how important this is. And I really want you to share this. So I really appreciate you and thank you for listening to my podcasts. But it doesn't really mean anything if I don't get across to more people to be able to change things with you guys doing that. And again, this is kind of that pass it forward moment, isn't it? Who could you share this with? If you were to have one action today and that was a way to be more grateful, is to share this with someone, or not even this, share a book or a piece of material you've read, something that made a difference to you today, and you could share that with somebody, it would make a difference to their world, then do it. So I highly recommend you check out my last podcast, which was how to handle rejection. That has been like the most downloaded episode to date, which is phenomenal. I was just over the moon with. So take a little listen to that. Check it out. Let me know your feedback. I really do love it when people reach out and get in contact and say, I've listened to your podcast. And yeah, it inspires me to do what I'm doing and keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not perfect. I'm not sitting here saying I'm perfect. I do it because I enjoy it and I love it. And I want to do more in my life of what I love. So that is coaching and, being with others and doing all of my things that bring me happiness. And I want the same for you as well. So please connect with me on my social medias. I'm at nataliepotscoaching.co.uk, or I'm on my Facebook community, which is Living a Vibrant Life. And yeah, drop me a question, share this with a friend. Please leave a review because that really helps me kind of with the business side and getting it out there more. I hit more channels and people and have a bigger impact. So yeah, would really appreciate that. But as always, whatever you do today, make sure you have a great day. And also it's a Monday. That's why I always love doing a podcast on a Monday, because I really want people to listen to this and get pumped and go and have a great week.